The speech of the human beings, the speech is a sound which is produced by the larynx and some other parts of the pharynx and oral cavity. The unique feature of the human being is the speech. So how do we speak? How do we speak? The larynx or the sound box is situated on the neck and it is perfectly placed at the place where it can make the sound, and it is the basis of almost all sounds which are produced by the human being. The larynx is sphincter. It is a sphincter which is controlling the entry of the foreign bodies in the respiratory tract. It is also controlling the respiration or the ventilation. So widely opened during the act of respiration and closed during swallowing or deglutition. But it is much more than a valve or sphincter. So how do we speak and how the sounds are produced by the larynx? So in this lecture, the anatomy of the speech. Of speech. The larynx is producing the sound. Some sounds are part of the speech and some sounds are not part of the speech. In that case, the sound is amplified and modified by the supralaryngeal vocal tract, which is about 17 centimeters and situated above the vocal cords up to the opening of the mouth and the nose. So there are different processes which are producing the speech. So these processes are the expelled air or the expired air, which is coming from the lungs and it is forming the basis of the energy which is required to produce the sound and speech. So it is the source of energy and the energy is required to speak. So first process is the expired air. Vibration. Or vibrators, resonators, and the articulators. So anatomy of the speech requires four processes. The expired air, which is exhaling by the thorax. The thoracic cavity is having the intercostal muscles, a powerful muscle, the diaphragm, some other muscles, the muscles of the abdomen, the neck, and muscles of the upper limb, which are having one attachment to the thoracic cavity, other attachment to the upper limb, neck, or the abdomen. So these all muscles, the contraction of these all muscles is forming the basis of the energy for the production of the sound and the speech. So source of energy is coming from the lungs, also from the recoiling of the smooth muscles of the lungs. The loudness or intensity of the sound depends on the expired air. So if there will be more air, there will be more sound. Loudness of the sound or intensity of the sound depends on the expired air. If muscles are contracting more forcefully, the air is producing more loud or intense sound. Now, vibrators. The larynx is having a pair of vocal folds, or better called as vocal cords. So what is vocal fold? These are two laminae of the thyroid cartilage. Pair of arytenoid cartilage, which is having the muscular processes and the vocal processes. These folds are the vocal folds or true vocal cord, and it is having the vocal ligament. Vocal ligament is the upper thickened free margin of the cricovocal membrane or the conus elasticus. This green colored muscle is the vocalis muscle. This muscle is the vocalis muscle, and this muscle is the thyroarytenoid muscle. So vocalis, the thyroarytenoid, and the vocal ligament is the thickened upper margin of the cricovocal membrane. The vocalis muscle is subsidiary part of the thyroarytenoid muscle. The other subsidiary part of the thyroarytenoid muscle is the thyroepiglotticus muscle. So here we can see the fold. How the fold is formed? It is covered by the mucous membrane. and the mucous membrane of this part only in the laryngeal cavity is the stratified squamous non-keratinized mucosa, because it is the subject of the abrasive injury. When we talk, both are coming in contact to each other. So to prevent the abrasion, it is covered by stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. So after covering the mucous membrane, it is known as the vocal fold or vocal cord. The opening between the two vocal folds is triangular. It is triangular. So this opening from here up to here is known as rima glottidis. The rima glottidis. The rima is having anterior triangular intermembranous part. This triangular part is intermembranous part, and the posterior part of the rima is intercartilaginous quadrilateral part. So in normal breathing or normal respiration, the default shape is pentagonal. In quiet breathing, anterior part is triangular and posterior part is quadrilateral. In forceful inspiration, it becomes diamond shaped or oval in shaped, or also large triangular. At the beginning of the speech, at the beginning or onset of the speech, the air is coming from the lungs. The default shape is opened, widely opened. At the beginning of the sound or the speech, adduction of intermembranous part and adduction of the intercartilaginous part by the muscles. This muscle is lateral cricoarytenoides muscle. Lateral cricoarytenoides muscle. When this muscle contracts in this manner, the vocal processes are coming medially towards each other. Due to medial movement of the vocal processes, vocal folds are coming in close relationship to each other. At the same time, there is contraction of the interarytenoides muscle. This muscle is interarytenoides. So what is happening here? This is the thyroid cartilage, the epiglottic cartilage, the lamina of cricoid and the arch of cricoid, and this is the outlet of, and this is the arytenoid cartilage. So this is laryngeal inlet, outlet, and this is the site of the vocal cord. So this is the infraglottic part, This is the supraglottic part, and this part is the glottic part, or the area of the vocal cords. The expelled air is coming from the trachea. This lower part is the trachea. So air is coming from the lungs to the larynx through the trachea, and there is contraction of the lateral cricoarytenoides muscle, which is adducting the intermembranous part, and the same time adduction of the intercartilaginous part by interarytenoides muscle or thyroarytenoides muscle. No, it is interarytenoides or transverse arytenoides muscle, not thyro. This is the thyro. So due to act of this muscle, adduction of the vocal cords and arytenoid cartilage and closing of the rima glottis. It is completely closed, or it may be converted in a linear chink. So expired air is coming and it is closing. So due to these two mechanisms, the infraglottic pressure is rising. The infraglottic pressure is rising. When the infraglottic pressure is reaching up to level of 7.5 centimeter of water, 7.5 centimeter of H2O2, H2O. H2O, it is not H2O2. So when the pressure, infraglottic pressure of the larynx is reaching up to 7.5 centimeter of water, these vocal folds are separated, and there is vibration of these vocal folds. So this mechanism of vibration of the vocal folds is known as phonation. The frequency of the vibration may be different, but what is phonation? Vibration of vocal folds is the phonation. So phonation is vibration of the vocal folds. The frequency of the vibration may be different. So this is the vibration. The pitch of the sound depends on the vibration. So pitch of the sound depends on the vibration. Frequency of vibration changes the pitch of the voice. Now some sounds which are produced by vibration of the vocal folds is forming the part of the speech, or it is becoming the speech. So sound due to phonation of the vocal cords and becoming directly the part of the speech is known as the voiced sound. So sound becomes voiced. Voiced sound So which sounds are voiced and which sounds are unvoiced? The sounds which are produced by the act of phonation, which is arising due to vibration of the vocal folds, is voiced. The all vowels A, E, I, O, U all are voiced at the level of the vocal folds, and these all are arising by the vibration of the vocal cords by the phonation. So A, E, I, O, U all are arising from the vibration. Some sounds of the speech are not arising at the level of the vocal folds or the glottis. These sounds are produced by the resonator and the articulators. These sounds of the speech which are produced by the resonators and articulators are known as unvoiced. So the sounds of consonants are unvoiced sound. Sounds of the vowels are the voiced. When I say P, the sound of the speech is produced by the act of lips. P. When I say Ka, it is produced by the action of the palate. And all unvoiced sounds, almost all unvoiced sounds are produced by the act of the muscles of the tongue. So P, K, Ka are produced by the articulators, and these sounds are known as unvoiced sounds. The third process is a resonator. Resonators are formed by the air columns above the laryngeal inlet. Above the larynx, there is a tract which is formed by the pharynx, the oral cavity, the nasal cavity. The 17 centimeter supralaryngeal vocal tract. So this is the larynx. This is the laryngeal inlet. This is the pharynx, and this part from the larynx up to the oral cavity up to the nasal cavity. This 17 centimeter tract is known as supralaryngeal vocal tract, and this can change the geometry and the caliber of the vocal folds. We can lengthen this vocal tract by adding our hands on the mouth. In that case, the sound will be more loud or more intense. So supralaryngeal vocal tract is acting as resonator. There are columns of air. There are columns of the air from the lungs up to the oral cavity and nasal cavity, and these air columns are interrupted by the vibration of the vocal folds. But above the vocal folds, these columns are acting as the air columns, and quality of the sound depends on the resonator quality. So the complex human speech, which is having different frequencies, loudness and durations, are formed by these all acts. So resonators are changing the quality of the speech or sound. Even we can change the quality of the sound using these resonators even on the telephone. So resonators and this supralaryngeal tract vocal cord is acting as amplifier and the modifier of the sound. We can compare this supralaryngeal tract by the megaphone, which also amplifies and modifies the sound. So unvoiced sound speeches are produced by the resonators and articulators. The last part of this supralaryngeal vocal tract is the oral cavity and the nasal cavity with the air sinuses. These articulators are narrowing down the tract. So these can dampen the frequency or can accelerate the frequency of the sound, or can totally block this air passage. And due to articulation, these are producing the consonants. The articulators are the palate, tongue, lips and teeth. So what are articulators? Palate, tongue, teeth and the lips. Some consonants are produced by lips, known as labial, with the lips and teeth labiodental. Some are produced by the palate, but all are having requirement of the intrinsic muscles of the tongue. So this is the complex anatomy of the speech, which is having voiced and unvoiced sounds.